So yeah, redundancy is a bad thing. So ideally, you shouldn't depend on this competition thing. And my second argument would be to you that they're still going to fight for their own self-interest. We know that unions can be quite malicious and quite evil and quite not give a shit about the consumer. So we'll know that if you had a company run by workers, the workers will try to do all kinds of shit. They'll try to create a monopoly for their company. They'll try to create cheats for their company. They'll they'll do all kinds of malicious, they'll poison somebody else's medicine or something so the other company goes ruin. They'll have all kinds of bad incentives to do all kinds of malicious shit, and you just can't trust workers. You can't trust them.
Yeah, I mean, no human being can be trusted ultimately, right? The alternative
They
though is like,
can. They just have to be accountable. And I'm just saying the accountability would come as you give half the power to the consumers. The consumers are the ones that should have a vote in this thing. They should have a way to reward and punish companies some other way than through what they buy. That's not the only way to reward and punish, because obviously a union in a company, let's say, they could say, well, yeah, let's import half our production to China because we can all make money as shareholders in the company. The company can make more money, so it'll be just as socially destructive as a capitalist when they have a self-interest. And so I'm just saying the way you have to have something to counter their self-interest.
yeah, okay. I mean, I'm not trying to get into an argument here. We're just going forward with the discussion, but the same people that would be in these work firms are, in theory, the same people who are voting, right? So if they support sending labor to China, then they're not going to vote to make a law against it anyway, right? Or
Well, you're not getting the point. The point is you wouldn't have to have a law against it because if the consumers and the producers are going to be all the workers, they're going to know it wouldn't be in their interest. People aren't going to the workers are not going to vote to export their jobs. So if you're a consumer and um, I don't know how to put this. I mean, politics is always complicated. I'm just saying, but that's why you need people with different interests having a say because the interests will balance each other out. And so the strong self interest of people who can get wealthy on something will be balanced out by the knowledge of the person that they're going to be subjected to the same vulnerability if they allow that to happen. I mean, right now there's certain unions that just didn't care because they knew teachers, for example, they knew, well, okay, go ahead and export jobs because they knew they couldn't export. They're not going to be importing Chinese people to teach grammar school, so they knew they were safe, from this competition. So they essentially voted to fuck everybody else. And that's the maliciousness that exists in people, and you have to have some balance against their maliciousness.
yeah, I agree with you about the teachers union, and I'm actually glad you brought that up because like some people before have made the argument that the problem with the teachers union is that like first we're taxed and then they get their money instead of, I mean, we really don't have any choice. You know what I mean? There's no
Teachers
alternative.
union is the fucking worst.
Yeah, the teachers union is bullshit, but a lot of people think the reason is it's so much worse than all the other, like auto unions and stuff, is because of the fact that we're taxed first and then the money goes to them after. Like we don't have any choice in the matter, right? Except through voting, of course.
Yeah, well, we don't really even have that choice because it's still extortion. I mean, what's the alternative? We're not given a really great alternative. And what's the other point I want to make? Yeah, by keeping it local too, I guess that does them good. I mean, they can protect themselves that way. But the point is that there's so many of them. That's really the bottom line. There's such a big union that both political parties, and we have to get rid of the two-party system because that's where the two-party system reveals its corruption. Because both parties are selling themselves to those big unions because they know they can't lose that entire voting block. It's just too big a voting block to give away.
The fucking electoral college needs to go. That's
Yeah,
a
well,
big
that's
fucking deal.
obvious. I mean, but that one you're never going
Right,
to
I
go
mean
back and
it's
get
so
rid of either.
obvious.
Because all the little states aren't going to let it go. I mean, it gives them way to. I mean, Alaska. Come on, those states would be nothing. They have no power if we got rid of that shit. I mean, the idea it still just irks the hell out of me that we give that little fucking colony of prisoners, basically a prison colony. We give them 2 senators. I mean, they have as much political power as California. It's just disgusting.
Well, the Alaskan pipeline is pretty important.
Yeah, I'm talking about the people that live there. I'm not talking about the resources. I'm talking about the assholes who live there. I'm just saying, why are we giving?
It's the
Why are we
pipeline
giving?
that gives them power.
Well, the point is, though, we're giving individual people, fucking morons in Alaska, 30 times the vote, realistically, as somebody living in Connecticut or something. It's just stupid.
Yeah, when the system was created, the federal government hardly had any power, and so they didn't think that like it would make much of a difference. But like nowadays, I mean, like on the state level, for instance, if they just gave the populated cities equal voting power within state governments as like some sort of rural town with 300 people in it, it would be ridiculous. Uh, the problem
Yeah,
is
well,
the
they would
growth of
have
the
to do
federal
it, though.
government.
The reason why it exists is not because of some mistake. I mean, it was deliberate bribery. The reason why the Electoral College exists and the reason why states get 2 senators not based on population is because that's the only way they could bribe states into the union. They had to give them veto power. They had to give them a big giant piece of power so they felt secure that if they joined the union, they wouldn't be drowned out. So it's just about power again.
Well, I'm glad that Alaska has 2 senators, because that's where Mike Gravel was a senator.
Oh, please. I'm not
He's
going
the
to
one
argue. Well,
that,
then go get out of here, please.
gave us
I mean,
the,
this is where you just get
Alaskan
moronic. You
pipelines.
talk about principles 1 minute, and then you throw principles in the toilet the next minute. So
Well, I'm
fine.
talking about taking
You're happy
advantage
that a
of it.
moron state we almost had a vice president that has an IQ of 14. Okay, because of your stupid, idiotic statement here. I mean, I'm glad Alaska has 2 senators because, well, their senators aren't qualified to be senators. They're really just qualified to be dog catchers. And yeah, it's really great that our politics gets polluted by these, these fucking intellectual. I don't know what the word is for it. Yeah, well, these mentally deficients, right? That are somehow are qualified because they, got 14 votes in an election.
Hey, look, I mean, sometimes old hacks says some crazy shit, but we want him to stick around, so.
Whatever. You can
Hey,
want
fuck.
whatever you want. I'll want whatever the fuck I want. And we can want different things. And I want people to be consistent. And when they say one thing 1 minute and then say something else the other minute, it's fucked up. It's just he does this in the comments sections on videos. 1 minute he applauds when somebody does something, and then he applauds somebody who did just the opposite. And he's just like, what the fuck's the fucking point? Your voice doesn't mean anything if it's not consistent.
No, see, we can argue for principles, but we can also recognize when someone's taking advantage of the system for the better good, which is what happened.
Yeah, that
when
doesn't
Mike
have
Gravel became
anything
senator.
whatsoever with you sitting there justifying, well, I'm glad Alaska has 2 senators. Well, then you might as well say you're glad the Electoral College exists because those 2 things are basically the same thing, asswipe.
Well, he wouldn't have been able to become senator if there wasn't 2 senators, because he came in on the.
I don't
left
care. I don't
side.
even want the fucker to be a senator in the first place. I don't even give a fuck. It's not worth the price. The bad senators aren't worth the one good one. If you have 10 bad ones for every one good one, then what's the fucking point? I mean, I can bring up all the fucking right-wing lunatics that Alaska has put in the Senate. I mean, fuck you.
He went into the Senate and fought for our side, so.
Oh, well,
I say it's a
whatever.
good thing.
I don't even want to talk to you old hacks. Just shut the fuck up. Alaska probably put 2 senatorial votes in favor of the Vietnam War. They probably voted for the Iraqi War. They've been a menace to the United States of America. A fucking menace.